All right, let's get into it. We're going to tackle the very first chapter of the New Testament. You know, the one a lot of us just skip. But what if I told you it's actually one of the most action-packed parts of the entire story?
I mean, come on, let's be real. You crack open the book of Matthew, you're all set for this epic story, and bam, you eat this wall of so-and-so begat so-and-so. It just feels like a huge speed bump right at the starting line. So, why is it even there?
Well, it's because this isn't some ancient attendance sheet. No. As you're about to see, this thing is actually a coded message, it's a legal document, and it's a theological masterpiece all rolled into one.
Okay, so let's really dive in. We're going to treat this genealogy almost like a treasure map. We're going to unlock the secrets that have been hidden inside this list of names this whole time.
So here's the absolute #1 thing to get. Matthew's main goal here isn't just to say, hey, look who Jesus was related to. He is making a full-on legal argument. From the very first sentence, he's establishing that Jesus is the one true rightful heir to the throne of Israel.
And to prove this, Matthew anchors his entire case on two massive foundational promises from the Old Testament. You can think of these as the two giant pillars holding up everything the Jewish people were waiting and hoping for.
So on one side, you've got the huge promise God made to Abraham, that through his family, the whole world would be blessed. This is all about election, God choosing a specific people. Then on the other side, you have the promise to King David, that his kingdom, his throne, would last forever. And that is about enthronement, God establishing an eternal kingdom. And what Matthew is doing here is basically standing up and declaring, guess what? Jesus is the fulfillment of both.
But this is where the story takes a really interesting turn. See, if you're trying to prove a royal bloodline, you'd expect it to be, perfect, squeaky clean. But Matthew does the exact opposite. He actually shines a spotlight on the scandals.
In a deeply patriarchal world, where genealogies almost never included women, Matthew just shatters that tradition. He deliberately, intentionally includes 4 specific women. And let me tell you, who they are is just mind-blowing.
Just look at this list. You've got Tamar and Rahab, whose backstories are filled with scandal and pagan roots. You have Ruth, who was a total foreigner, an outsider, brought into God's family simply because of her faith. And then there's Bathsheba, who is forever tied to King David's greatest, most spectacular failure, but also to God's incredible power to restore things. By putting them right here, front and center, Matthew is sending a powerful message right from the get-go. This king, his story is for everyone, no matter how messy your past is.
Okay, so the camera lens zooms way in now. From this huge sweep of history to a really personal, immediate crisis that's facing Jesus' parents. And right here, Matthew shows us how God's plans have a way of crashing right into our own.
Think about it. Mary and Joseph, they had a pretty simple plan. Get married, build a house, settle down. But they were about to walk straight into what you could call a divine disruption. God's sovereign, world-changing plan was about to make their lives incredibly inconvenient, super uncomfortable, and honestly, pretty dangerous. It's just a powerful reminder that sometimes the detour is the real path. Seriously, try to put yourself in Joseph's shoes for a second. The woman he's engaged to is pregnant, and he knows for a fact that he is not the father. In that culture, he had every single legal right to publicly humiliate her, which could have literally gotten her killed. But he doesn't do that.
And this little snapshot just says everything about his character. He finds out about the crisis, and his very first gut reaction isn't judgment, it's mercy. Then when God steps in and gives him direction in a dream, he doesn't argue, he doesn't second-guess it, he just immediately, quietly, faithfully obeys. Joseph is really the silent hero of this chapter, a truly pious protector.
So, as we start to pull all of these different threads together, we begin to see that absolutely nothing in this chapter is an accident. Every single name, every little story, it all serves a much bigger purpose in history's grand design. And the chapter wraps up with one last crucial detail. Matthew makes the point of saying that Joseph had no union with Mary until she gave birth to her firstborn son. Now that word, firstborn, is so important. It confirms the miraculous virgin nature of Jesus' birth, setting him apart as someone uniquely dedicated to God from the very start.
So let's just recap everything we've unlocked here. The ancestry, it proves Jesus is the legal king. The inclusion of those 4 women, it proves God's grace is for the unlikely. The sovereignty of God, it shows his plans are way bigger than our personal comfort. And the character of Joseph, it shows that quiet, faithful obedience is one of the most powerful forms of strength there is.
You see, what started out as just a boring list has completely transformed. It's now this dynamic, action-packed story that proves Jesus' right to rule, that demonstrates God's radical grace for outsiders, and that shows off the quiet courage of people who are willing to trust God's disruptive, world-changing plan.
And that kind of leaves us with one last big thought, doesn't it? If a part of the Bible that we so often just skip right over holds this much depth and purpose and beauty, well, what other treasures might we be walking right past, hidden in plain sight?